Hello again and welcome back to the newsroom here at France 24. There's no love lost between Venezuela and Colombia, and in today's focus we're looking closer at the increasing tensions on their common border. The governments of the two Latin American countries are trading insults on an almost daily basis, and some residents on the Venezuelan side are even preparing for war. The Venezuelan president, Hugo Chavez, has accused Colombia of helping the United States to plot an invasion of Venezuela from Colombian territory. It follows on the heels of a deal that gave U.S. forces more access to Colombian military bases in order to battle drug smugglers. For its part, Colombia says it's preparing to defend itself against a possible military attack, and it recently said it would build a new military base near the Venezuelan border. In a moment, we'll discuss whether there is a real risk of war, but first we'll set the scene with this report.
If you want peace, prepare for war, repeats Hugo Chavez over and over. In San Antonio del Táchira, right on the border with Colombia, the reinforcements have already arrived. Every day, Venezuelan army vehicles drive up and down the streets. Jeeps, armored cars, more than 100 troops in all. It's a routine mission for these soldiers of the Bolivarian National Guard responsible for border security. The locals look on, bemused.
Here we just get on with family life. We're not doing anything wrong.
In San Antonio, the war against Colombia is no longer a bluff. The electricity supply between the two countries has been cut off, and this customs post is often closed. Some, like the pro-Chavez mayor of San Antonio, believe a U.S. attack is imminent.
We know what they did in Panama and what they did in Grenada, or even in Iraq and Afghanistan. So we have to prepare for every eventuality, including war. And not just psychologically, it's a question of patriotism.
Every day, the Venezuelan army combs these poor neighborhoods inhabited by Colombian immigrants suspected of smuggling fuel or spying for the enemy. This man is accused of petrol smuggling. His behavior seems suspicious, so he's arrested.
He's my only grandson. He's a builder's assistant, and now they've taken him from me.
For several weeks now, San Antonio has been on full alert. In principle, the National Guard is here to combat the fuel smuggling. Petrol is virtually free in Venezuela. But in reality, they're searching these neighborhoods for U.S. intelligence agents and Colombian paramilitaries.
The smugglers carry on all their criminal activities under the noses of the Colombian police and local authorities. Everything crosses the river Táchira with no respect for our border.
And this is the frontier, a narrow strip of water between the two countries. National Guard commandos make regular raids here, chasing off the smugglers who abandon their illicit petrol cans. This is also where the Venezuelan army is lining up, standing off in the face of an invisible enemy.
Joining us now for more analysis of the situation is Antonio Rodriguez, who's a journalist at the news agency AFP, and he's got a lot of experience on reporting from the region. Let me first ask you, from your perspective, is there a real risk here of an armed conflict?
I hope that the reason will prevail in this situation. Neither countries can afford a war. Venezuela has a military which has not the equipment that the Colombian has, and on the other side, Colombia has a very important trade partner with Venezuela. So I hope the reason will prevail in this case, and that all those tensions are not just, I just hope that they are just used for electoral reasons. You know that in Venezuela and in Colombia, the elections will take place next year. The presidential election in Colombia in May, Congress in Venezuela. So I sometimes have the sensation, the feeling that both presidents are using those tensions to try to win the election next year. And we can remember that President Uribe reached more than 80% of popularity in the polls 1 year ago, in the middle of the tension with Venezuela and Ecuador after an operation against the FARC in Ecuador. So it's good for his popularity to have tension with Venezuela because the Colombian people are supporting him. And in the case of Venezuela, I think the situation is more interesting because Hugo Chavez did take advantage of tension, but not with Colombia, but with the United States. Under the Bush administration, just remember, Hugo Chavez and the Bush administration were calling names to each other almost every day, in some periods. Hugo Chavez said that Bush was a pendejo. Then we have the reply of the Bush administration saying that Hugo Chavez was a kind of negative force of Latin America. So we had this kind of tension with Washington, but everything changed with Obama. Since Obama arrived at the White House, Obama is not playing this game like the Bush administration.
So you're basically saying that the United States in the region, which, Hugo Chavez, he usually homes in on the United States for fueling the tensions within Latin America. You're saying that maybe the Obama administration has taken a better line in the region. Is that the case?
They changed the tone of the policy. They took a better line, but since Hugo Chavez has not the possibility of having this kind of rhetoric war with the United States, he tried to find something else, and he found the basis that Colombia is going to give to the United States next year for anti-drug operations. So he's taking advantage of those bases, of the issue of this basis, to have a new debate, a new kind of rhetoric war with the United States, and taking advantage in his home country. Because he can say again that the United States are conspiring and that there is a plot against him that is elaborated in the United States.
Let me ask you, who do you think is to blame for the current situation? Because after all, we have a situation with our heightened tensions between Colombia and Venezuela. Is it possible to pin the blame with either side?
I think that either side are responsible, but the idea of having those bases for the American army.
You're talking about the Colombian military bases that will be used by the United States Army and so on and so forth.
Exactly. This was an idea that has fueled the tension again, and it's an idea that not just Hugo Chavez has said that it was a wrong idea, but all Latin American countries, every Latin American countries has said that it was a wrong idea.
Now, what needs to happen from now on? How can Colombia and Venezuela sort of bury the hatchet and move on from this and smooth over these tensions?
Well, we will wait until the next election, I guess. But it's a very strange and odd relationship between Venezuela and Colombia. First, we're part of the same country in the 19th century, the big Colombia, and we have a lot of surprises. I talked earlier about the crisis with Ecuador and Venezuela last year. Suddenly, we had Hugo Chavez and we had a hug between Hugo Chavez and Álvaro Uribe in Dominican Republic in a summit. So everything can change very quickly.
All right, we'll have to keep our eyes on this situation. Antonio Rodriguez from AFP, thanks very much for speaking to us. And with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Focus. Stay with us here for more news at France 24.